Welcome to Hush. It's a gorgeous day outside. Actually, I don't even know what it feels like outside because I have not been out there yet. And the interesting thing is that when summer comes, I am outside as much as humanly possible. I have been very tired lately. Tired to the extent that I can't even attribute it to the conditions that I have. It's just been beyond anything I've experienced, with not that much seemingly going on in my life. And yet there's always this undercurrent of deep emotional pain happening with my current situation. And so this is Hush. This is the channel where we talk about the things that people don't want to hear about. One thing that I've noticed that people don't want to hear about is when you're going through tragic stuff. The people that want to throw a pity party with you, they jump on board very often because they just want to see the world as negative, and they're all into, yes, let's just bash the world, and wow, everything's so messed up, and just an excuse to stay in that negativity. And I want to share and be real, and yet not feed into that negativity, not feed into that depressive victimhood. Can I share the reality of what's happening in my life? Share the reality of past abuse. Share the reality of current abuse happening to my children, without having to become the victim. Because the victim doesn't help us. The victim only helps us stay stuck. And the most interesting thing about the victim is that we can't hate the victim. The only way to overcome the victim is to love it and to thank it for serving us so well, despite the problems that it's caused us, and let it go. And then we're going to backtrack a little bit. So then there's this whole other group of people, which I believe is the larger group of people, that when you're going through something similar to I am with my children and my ex-husband, people just don't want to hear it. Very few jump on board to take sides. More people wash their hands of it. Oh, it's not my business. I don't want to hear it. It's not my business. It's not my business. Like, my children go to your school. They're in your classroom. How are they not your business? My children play with your children. They hang out with your children. They're friends with your children. How is this none of your business? Right? This leads to so many different subjects. This leads to the victim mentality. This leads to, I just lost it. I had another thought that this led to, and it had to do with friends of parents, and I lost it. And so there's so many different directions we can go in. But I think the thing that has struck me most over the last year and few months is the people that I have reached out to for help who have been like, not my business. Oh, I remember. The people that don't want to be a rat, right? There's this whole thing where I don't want to get involved, right? That whole street mentality of, don't talk, don't tell, stay out of people's business. What that's done has created a society of people who, if they don't want to deal with something, they just say, that's not my business. And they walk away feeling righteous in that. Like, wow, I'm being good, because there's this whole message out there of don't rat, don't tell, don't get involved, right? I mean, how many times are we told as a child, like, that's not our business? But if I'm nobody's business, then I'm just all alone in the world. It's really interesting. Even my own partner often says, like, that's not my business. And I'm like, you're my partner in life. If you're my partner, then anything that happens to me should have effect on you, and therefore I'm your business. But even our neighbors, the parents of kids that my friends hang out with, how is what they're going through not my business? There's a difference between intentionally trying to get people in trouble and caring about our society and our community. And if there's people who are in our community going through something, then that's your business. So if there's abuse happening in your community, if there's stealing happening in your community, if there's things happening in your community, it's your business. And on the other hand, if good things are happening, if people are doing acts of kindness in your community, that's your business, because now you're part of a community that's doing acts of kindness, and that's beautiful and that's good. But isn't it our business? So I would say this topic's probably mostly about what is our business and what's not our business. You know, I mean, even my own mom has kind of washed her hands of, like, she's very sad over the situation, but it's not her business. It's not her family unit. It's like, how is this not your family unit? And I think it stems from a place of not truly believing that these things aren't our business, but not wanting to carry the burdens of our neighbors, of our family, of our loved ones. If we make their life our business, now we have to carry their burdens, right? If I just walk around saying, nothing anyone does is any of my business, I don't have to do anything about anything. It's a really self-centered way to look at things. Something that's been a theme over the last year that I've been learning about is how insecurity creates self-centeredness. And we fear so much to love ourselves. I mean, not everybody, but there is a large amount of the population. I used to be one of them, and that's how I know, because I've been to the other side now, that fears loving themselves because they don't want to become the people who have hurt them. And that's exactly how I felt. I did not want to love myself. I had extensive conversations with people about this for years because I didn't want to be selfish. And I thought if I took care of myself and I thought more about myself, I'd stop thinking about others. And it's opposite. It's amazing. Even this past weekend, something happened, and I was just able to put myself aside and my own feelings aside and say, what does this other person need? And then provide that for them. And it's 100% due to my own self-love and level of that, because I wasn't hurt. Because the more I love myself and fill myself up from within, there's nothing that anyone can do or say about me that's going to change how I see myself, which opens me up to the space to be able to be there for others. And this is not a message of victimhood. Oh, no one's there for me. No one cares about me. Me and my children are going through this tragedy. The family courts are hogwash, which they are. I mean, it's really interesting. I had no clue this was happening until it happened to me, and it's intensified over the last couple of years and continues to, what's happening in our family court system. And if you don't know about it, check it out, unless you're somebody that feeds off of the negativity and all of that. And then, maybe it's okay to just shut the news off for a while. There's so much good in our world, and there's so much pain in my world right now. And holding that duality of there is goodness and there is pain is a really important place that I've come to. I don't need the support of anyone else, but man, it would sure make things easier. I would accept it if people were willing to come support me, show up at court. I mean, I could probably come up with lists and lists of things that would be helpful and that, wouldn't put people out too much. But at the end of the day, if they're not loving themselves, if they don't have a really strong sense of self, if they can't think outside of what we've been taught and trained, then I'm none of their business, right? So here I am. I'm going through something. The hardest of things. I've been through some hard stuff, man. Really hard stuff. I've been basically murdered. I shouldn't be alive. I don't know how I am. Grateful. And yet that was nothing compared to this season. And I'm really grateful that despite the community that I live in that has refused to support or listen or hear or come together in favor of my children, despite the family courts doing the same thing my ex is doing, which is acting in their own best interest rather than the best interest of my children and other people's children. You know, I'm not sitting here asking anyone to act in my best interest. Has this been horrifically hard on me? Has it done things to me that I've had to overcome to still be a good mom for my children that no mother should have to go through? Absolutely. But I'm not asking anyone to act in my best interest. I'm asking for the community, for the family courts to act in the best interest of my children, and especially one of them who's completely estranged from me. And I use the word estranged, but estrangement is when a child voluntarily rejects a parent due to that parent doing something awful to that child. Because we're not allowed to say alienation, right? I mean, all these things you're not allowed to say in court. You're not allowed to state. I'm not allowed to say that my ex was drunk when he was out in his lawn screaming in the middle of broad daylight all by himself, bothering neighbors. People were noticing. I'm not allowed to say that, but you know, you're with somebody daily for 14 years and you're not allowed to make opinions on their character because that's just your made up opinions. It's like, no, if you know somebody, you know somebody. But that's just not how things work in our court system, right? And then we have proof, but evidence doesn't matter either, apparently. It's very interesting. Again, you know, people don't want to hear about this. They hate the victim. And yet, I'm not a victim of any of it. I'm going off in all different kinds of tangents here, but maybe this is just what I needed to talk about today. And you know, I've said it before, I'm not a victim. I made choices that led my life in this direction. It's my children who are the victims right now because they didn't choose to be born. There was a time where I was the victim and I was the one that didn't choose to be born or to be a participant in the things that were happening in my life. But I'm an adult now and I made decisions that led me where I'm at. And my children didn't. And they deserve a community that cares. They deserve a court system that crumbles to the ground to be rebuilt. That's focused on the best interest of the children. That's focused on them and what they deserve. The kind of life every child deserves, not just mine. This isn't a pity party. This isn't, my kids deserve something no one else does. This is hey, people don't like to talk about this. They don't like to hear about it. People don't want to know the reality that's going on with me because something might pull at them that they need to do something about it and they're not willing. And I'm not asking for anything. But I want to share because these are the kind of things that everybody's told me to just live your life, Jill. You'll figure it out. You're so strong. You've got this, Jill. It's all gonna work out in the end. Or, oh, this is awful. This is terrible. I wish you the best of luck. You know, I believe that we should live the way that we want the world to be. So when the opportunity arises, I just hope that I don't close my eyes and turn my head and pretend that somebody else isn't suffering and that they might not need some help. And I seek to put myself in a position that I can lend a hand, I can lend some money, I can lend a place to stay, that I can do something to help them through whatever it is they're going through. And if I get through this all alone and don't receive that, then I'm all the more grateful that I never have to allow somebody else to go through something tragic and hard that continues to go on and on and on, all alone. You know, I don't shy away from tragedy, but today I don't shy away from the goodness either. I don't shy away from the sun shining, which is why I'm gonna get my stuff together and I'm gonna go grocery shopping. Do my mundane tasks before my children return to me tomorrow, 4 of them at least out of 5. I have big plans for this weekend, and you know, life doesn't stop because hard things happen. Life doesn't stop because wickedness is in the world. And I'm not rolling over, and I'm not gonna stop. So whether I'm in this alone or I'm in this with my community, either way, I'm making it to the other side. I'll see you all there. Until next time.